Well, I'd have been against it, but they're back. Mark and Mike. It doesn't take a genius.
I was thinking of something.
What are
This
you
is,
thinking of?
it's possible that this is the most universal topic we have yet covered.
Oh,
You know,
good. That means our audience will grow from 12 to 24.
it's up to 12, is it? That's good.
Yes.
Oh. I
Yeah,
was just
very
thinking, not
exciting.
everybody has employees or managers or colleagues or customers, but everybody has the need for habits and the need to change some habits. So this is pretty universal.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. So yeah, we all have habits. I noticed you didn't distinguish between good habits or bad habits, right? Hey, look, we all have habits. Way to go. Yeah. Yeah. Whether it's my habit of eating cheese and crackers at midnight, like a
Right,
like
right.
a mouse that's loose in the kitchen, right? Or my habit of going running every other day.
Oh,
So what I've figured out about these things is that the majority of people need a what they call a significant life event in order to create a new habit.
yep.
A friend of mine I went to school with, who happens to be the same age as me because we went to school together. He just had open heart surgery, and
Oh, wow.
he was so excited, right? He posted on Facebook, "I walked 40 feet today,"
Oh,
and I'm like, whoa, that's, and then like I walked 100 feet today and I should only be in the hospital 2 more weeks. And I'm sitting there thinking,
oh, jeez.
and so now he's come along, right? He's a month or so into this thing, and now he's posting all these healthy tips,
Mm.
what you should eat. And this person, I think it was Jimmy Buffett, said he had a line that said, my girlfriend treats her body like a temple and I treat mine like a tent. So this guy treated his body like a tent. So, and now he's the guru of how to eat, and everybody should wear a mask. Where he was so opposed to masks, 2 months ago, and things like that. And so it dawned on me that the number one cause of death, if you look at it in the United States, are decisions.
Mm.
So, and then kind of tying it to what we're talking about is their habits, right? We make a decision and then habits form around that decision. So the number one cause of death in America is heart disease, and it's
Ah,
100% preventable. And when you talk to people who've had this, like they've had a heart attack and they've lived and now they're eating healthy. And I always go, so what are you doing now? Oh, I'm exercising. I'm on a whole food, plant-based diet. I've cut out, smoking and I always go, wow, that's amazing. Did you know you were supposed to do that before you had the heart attack? Well, yeah, yeah. But it took a
yep.
significant life event to force them to make the changes, right? For
Yeah.
them to have the energy, the motivation, the whatever you want to call it, to do something different. And
Yeah.
so in our line of work, when we're creating change, our goal is to create change without a significant life or business event, right? Let's
Right.
not make pending bankruptcy the catalyst for change. Let's change stuff, and then we won't even have to get to that point.
Right.
And I know you've kind of looked at this from a more practical standpoint of how do you lead somebody, how do you get somebody to do something different.
Yeah, yeah, and I think when we say significant life event, often it's staring mortality in the face, right? It's something that big, which gets your emotions involved, and emotions make it a lot easier to act on some things that maybe your brain knows you need to do, but until your heart really gets motivated, whoa, it's harder. So anyway, I'm stealing pretty liberally from a book, Coaching Questions by Tony Stoltzfus. I believe that's how
For
you
those of
pronounce
you
his
on
name.
iTunes, Mark is now holding up a book.
I'm holding up a book. I've managed to even make it to where there's no glare on the
Oh,
book.
nicely presented.
Yeah, I feel pretty good about that. But it's a book for professional coaches. But if there's a manager out there listening to this, it's a phenomenal book, very practical, lists of questions on different topics and how to go about coaching. It's geared for the person who's, you know, trying to help clients of a coaching practice, but phenomenal book. And anyway, he goes into talking about how do you reconnect with that emotion, that original motivation that you had. How do you find the energy to keep going when forming your habits is hard? So the first one is just that, just reconnecting. Oh, I should also point out, very helpful. These are 5 R's plus an A. So if you want to follow along with a piece of paper, 5 R's and an A. And the first R is reconnect. You know, reconnect with that original motivation. What was that future state you were looking for? What was that thing you wanted to achieve in your life? You know, you were making your joke about your cheese and crackers. Dare I say that was a habit I was trying to form a few years back. That actually was a good habit for me. I wanted to gain more muscle mass. I had always been scrawny. I was like, could I even, like, is that even possible? And short answer is yes, it was possible, as long as I was hitting the gym and eating more. And so Taco Bell had this lovely little tagline in their commercials: 4th meal.
Ooh, 4th meal.
I embraced the 4th meal with relish. I really enjoyed 2 chalupas and a taco supreme with a Pepsi. And long term, was that a healthy habit? No, but I will tell you that I reconnected. Anytime that I was struggling to go to the gym, I reconnected with, you know, basically, I want to look in the mirror and see if I can gain muscle mass. Can I even do that? Is that possible? Wouldn't that be cool if I had that? And I will say that was the period that I did meet my future wife. So I guess you could say the habit worked.
Now we can just let ourselves go.
Yeah, and now we can just let ourselves go. It's
yeah.
fine. It's fine.
Well, as coaches, we do a few different exercises around that. You know, the whole begin with the end in mind. Like at the beginning of the year for salespeople, I always put them in the mindset of, okay, it's a year from now. So in January of 2020, I want you to imagine it's January of 2021. The sales manager has come to you and said, what we'd like for you to do is give a presentation to the sales meeting and tell us how you had all this success in 2020. What did you do? What did you not do? And I always add, who would you like to thank? And I have them write this all down before they give their presentation. So it's imagining the future. It's putting yourself in the mindset of, I've done this. It was amazing. I know one of our colleagues does the newspaper article.
Yeah.
So the newspaper has come to you. It's a year from now. You've done this amazing thing. You've accomplished your goal. You've done that. What were the things that you consistently did that made this possible? And tell the newspaper editor or the newscaster what it is that you did consistently to make this achievement possible, that they're now going to interview you on television.
Right. Similar exercises with writing your own obituary, and just what do you want to see at the end of this?
Yeah, one of my favorites. I took the obituary one and I modified it slightly to fit today's modern age, and I have salespeople write their and I have business managers write their ideal Google review.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
So right, what would, if you did everything right, if you accomplished everything, what would a customer in a Google review write about you? So write your ideal Google review, and then that becomes the imagined reality that we begin to create habits around.
Love that. Love that.
So what do we do
so
next?
the next one is reminders. So we got reconnecting with your original motivation, and then reminding you to keep on that habit. So I have I mean, this can be done in so many different ways. You know, some people set up reminders on their phone. Some people have a Post-it note on their computer screen or on their bedroom mirror or bathroom mirror. But just to show you how varied this can be, I had a client years ago who was working on not snapping and blowing up on people. Just had a real anger problem. And what he eventually reconnected with was his grandmother, and how his grandmother just that this was not how she lived her life, and he wanted to be like her. She had it much harder than him. He wanted to just be like his grandmother and just let things roll off his back. And so while we were working, his grandmother had passed away, and she had left him personal effects. And one of them, when he opened the box, was the keys to her Lincoln. And that was the car that they drove around in when he was a youngster and talked about life. And that's, he really felt like that's when she poured into him. So he took, the Lincoln was long gone, but he had the keys. And so he put those keys in his pocket, and he knew himself. Whenever he reached into his pockets, that was him starting to get mad. His first reaction was to throw his hands into his pockets and jingle, jingle. Oh, there's those car keys. And it would remind him, oh, wait, what I'm trying to do here is be like grandma. And that was enough. Problem solved.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I had a store owner, and he wanted to be out amongst his people more, visit all the departments, and he wanted to do that on a daily basis. And so the first thing we did was he wasn't a digital age person, so we just created we printed off a clock, and we put it at 10 and 2, and it was literally straight in front of his desk on the wall. And so it was a reminder at 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock, get out of your seat, walk around, check on everybody, see how they're doing. And that worked pretty good. And then it began to wane. And then he decided that he noticed that one of the things that happens every day is the mail was delivered. And so the habit of the mail delivery became his trigger. So then he went to the office and told him, bring me the mail every day. And so the mail would be set on his desk at the same time every day. He would get up, and then he would go deliver the mail to all the different departments. So he had, and you hear about a lot of this in research, can you tie the new habit to an existing habit?
Yeah.
I've got sales guys now who they have a daily sales meeting. At the end of the sales meeting, the conclusion of the sales meeting is the trigger to go send email follow-ups. And so that's, this happens, and when this happens, I've tied it to this, and so now I'm more likely to do it. So taking an existing trigger or existing habit and tying the new habit to that, incredibly powerful.
And you've nicely brought up another one of ours, replacements. Replacement habits to your current habit that you're trying to overcome, the change you're trying to make. Just as a for instance, to your example, touching the keys for my client was the trigger to laugh, because that's what his grandmother would do. She would laugh about it and make light of the situation she was in. And so he started developing a habit of laughing. I would also say, just about before we leave the topic of reminders, I would add that sometimes it's not so much the trigger as it is the structure. Maybe you just need to rewire a little bit of what's in your environment, such as, you don't want late night snacks? Guess what? Dump them in the trash. Don't have late night snacks available. I've known guys that were big cigar smokers, and they couldn't bring themselves to toss out the cigars, but you know what? You can get rid of all your matches and lighters, just not even have them in your office. And so you put that cigar in your mouth, but that's as much as you can do. So anyway, reconnecting with your original motivation, reminders of this habit you're trying to form. And as you pointed out, the replacement habit, something that's going to take its place. This bad habit is going to be replaced with a good habit. The next one is regret. I think this really ties in nicely to your significant life event.
Well, when you think of regrets, right? So, and I have salespeople do this when we're doing our visioning and we're doing goal setting and things like that. I always have them imagine, right? The first one, reconnecting. Imagine what it's like when you achieve it, right? How good you're going to feel. Close your eyes and think about how proud you're going to be, and the whole room has got their eyes closed and they're smiling.
Yeah.
Then we talk about, okay, now I want you to think about you didn't achieve it.
Right.
You fell short. You failed. Now I want you to think about standing in front of the person whom you respect the most in life and tell them that you failed. And you should see the room, man. I mean, they all have their eyes closed, but they look like, that they just lost their favorite pet. I mean, it's just, they literally feel it. And so there's some research now that tells us that that if you imagine the goal, sometimes your brain is tricked into thinking you've already achieved it
Mm,
because it only knows what you put into it. The regrets phase, the imagining that you didn't do it, creates motivation as well. So it reminds your brain that we haven't done this, and if we fall short, we are going to feel terrible. And the feeling terrible is so much worse than the habit we're trying to create.
right.
You have a better chance of moving forward and
Right.
sticking to your habit.
I had a client about 5 years ago who actually had his wife, who was involved in his business, uh, look me up on Google and find my coaching practice website. And HipSocket's motto is wrestle and grow. And he said that she spun the laptop around him and said, "You've been wrestling with me. You wrestle with him for a while." And as time went on, we teased that out, that it was like, this is about making sure my marriage is a good marriage. I don't want to be in that state. But I think the beauty of what you're doing, Mike, with your clients is you're basically saying, instead of reaching that significant life event or having a warning sign flashed in our faces about something that is a danger zone for us, let's think about that right now. Let's process it. What would it feel like? Like what would it feel like to be in the room with that person? What would be going on? And making it as real as possible. So you kind of go, okay, yeah, we're going to walk away from that. I'm motivated.
Right, right. So yeah, we always think of the positive, rah motivation, and this is a whole different take on it. And they're that people are looking at to make sure that it's an evenly balanced equation. So we're
Sure.
thinking about the reward, and we're thinking about how awful it'll be, and what regrets we'll have if we don't achieve that.
Beautiful. So reconnecting with the motivation, reminders in the physical space, regrets that you have, the replacement habit that you have, but also rewards. And this one I think resonates with everybody. When I sell that big sale, I'm gonna buy, you fill in the blank, a big watch, or that thing that I've been eyeing in the store, that outfit, or what have you. Um, is that a road that you've gone down with some of these sales forces that you've worked with?
Oh, definitely. And I like the small rewards, the interim
Yeah.
rewards. It's very easy for people to say, like you said, all right, if I achieve this level of success, I'm buying the boat,
Right.
I'm buying the house or whatever. Uh, but I like the little rewards along the way,
Yeah.
where you treat yourself to a milkshake, or you
Yeah.
do something small just to keep yourself on track and to acknowledge the interim milestones.
Yeah.
And so to me, those are very important. People who I'm not even going to think about, I'm not going to celebrate till I get to the end. Many times those people don't make it because they haven't celebrated along the way. So yeah, what
Yeah.
are those little wins? And you see sales organizations start to do that when they have fast start programs. Instead of waiting
Yeah.
to the end of the month to celebrate, let's set a 2-week goal. If we get there, we'll have a mid-month celebration, and then
Right.
we'll work our way to the end of the month. So yeah, you're starting to see organizations and people figure out that, yeah, I gotta stop, reflect on what I've achieved, and thank myself, and then keep moving forward.
Yeah. And notice that could be so small that it's really just you internally doing a fist pump, right? It's like, yes, I recognize that I just achieved that. We did have a small win today.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yeah, if you
Um,
look at professional tennis players,
yeah.
if they hit a good shot, one of the things that they've been taught to do by sports psychologists is to make some sort of physical gesture of positivity.
Mm-hmm.
So just a little,
Yeah.
right, or they'll tap their leg, or they'll do something that's to celebrate the achievement that just happened, and then their brain's more likely to repeat that,
Love that.
whatever it was that was successful.
Love that. All right. So we've gone through the 5 R's, but there is an A, the A of accountability.
This is where, if we had production value, there would be music that went dun dun dun.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
we don't have any of that.
We don't have that.
No.
Maybe I'll add ukulele in later. I probably won't, though. I'll be
Okay.
honest with you.
a good thought.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So
Anyway.
accountability. What do we mean by accountability?
Well, this is something that happens to me a lot when I'm in coaching sessions is I'll say, something along the lines of what kind of structure do you need to make sure you follow through on this plan? And often they will say, well, I'm going to be meeting with you in 2 weeks or, in 3 weeks. So, I want you to ask me about it. That's good. That is accountability. What I would challenge anybody listening to this is where's the accountability network in your life already? Instead of being dependent on the coach or the outside guy, what can you do to build a network in your life of people who are going to support you and challenge you, and you give them permission to support and challenge you? That's going to be something that stays with you even when the coach is gone, because theoretically you should be leaving coaching relationships eventually, right? You should say, all right, we accomplished that. You worked yourself out of a job. Good job.
Yeah, I'm self-coaching. I'm self-led.
Yeah.
Well, and we see that the most basic example of that is the workout partner,
Yeah.
right? And sometimes they call them accountability buddies, or they
Yep.
have some terminology for it. But that other person it's rainy and it's cold and I don't want to go running, but I know the other person is out there standing in the rain and cold and depending on me to get
Yeah.
there. So I have that accountability partner. And you see different research on this. So it's interesting. And I fall to the camp of, just tell everybody. And let your network support you, right? If somebody
Right.
tells me they're going to stop smoking, man, every time I see them, how's it going? How many days has it been? What's it been like? What have
Right.
you noticed it's good? What are you still struggling with?
Yep.
I will, if you tell me something that you're working on, I will ask you about it, and I'm very excited to see the progress.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can help support that accountability, and then I think one of the things that we do very well as coaches is ask that accountability question at the end. My favorite is, what are you going to do more, better, different, or less based upon the discussion that we just had?
Mm-hmm.
And then other people, they have, okay, so tell me how much, what, by when. Either one of those is an accountability question. So how much how much you're going to do, what are you going to do, when are you going to do it by?
Yep.
What are you going to do more, better, different, or less? I like that question because less allows for the replacement aspect of what we've talked about.
Yeah.
So everybody, when they think of it, I got to do more, I got to do better, right? Different and less, it means I could do something different, and less means maybe there's something I need to quit doing that's impeding me from being successful. And if I take this out of my game, out of my life, all of a sudden I will move forward and create better habits and be more successful. So two questions, two approaches that I like to focus on with that.
And again, it's you really have to give people permission to do this in your life, so that they aren't worried about being too nice to you. Like I had a guy who was it's kind of silly. He was fishing too much, and it was like eating into his personal life, and he needed to not be on the lake so much. He had a fishing buddy say, "Is that really a problem for you? Tell you what, unless you tell me that it's approved with your wife and I call her and it's approved with her, I'm going to call her anyway." So in other words, if I see you on the lake, I'm picking up the phone and calling your wife. Problem solved. Problem solved.
Oh,
End of habit.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, no, I like that a lot. And that I tell my clients as well, they'll be talking about something, we'll go through everything that we've talked about, they'll commit to it, and then I'll go, do you really want this to be the main focus? Because you know what I'm going to do.
Right.
And they go, I know, every time we talk, you're going to bring it up. I said,
Yep.
so if you're serious about this, this is the service I'm going to provide.
Yep.
If you're not serious, pick something else, or let's not do anything at all, because I don't want to waste your time by me talking about something that's truly not important to you. So
that's right.
Is this really what you want to do? Because it's what I'm going to ask you about every time we're together.
Well,
Then that makes them, they pause for a second and they go, Yep, let's do it.
Yeah. That's the whole point of this list. This is about reconnecting with something that you're truly motivated to address.
Mhm.
So with that being said, I'll quickly run through it again, and then we'll leave people with a little challenge here, Mike. But reconnect with the original desires that you had to achieve with this change that you want to make. Put reminders in your physical space to allow you to have some triggers. Think about the regrets, how bad it's going to feel if you don't achieve this change, and rewards too along the way, small rewards. What's the replacement behavior for what you're trying to change? And then, like we've said, some sort of structure of accountability around you, not with your coach, but around you, to make sure you follow through. So there's the list: 5 R's and an A.
Well,
Should we
and
leave them with a challenge?
I think the challenge would be look at an aspect of your life or business, and then look at if you don't make a change and let this play out, what is the long-term impact? What is the significant life event that you're headed towards, right? Whether it's a heart attack or bankruptcy or a failed relationship or whatever it is, and then decide that's what you want to work on, and then apply the R's and the A.
Yeah.
So what path are you headed on? The Yeah, you'll make a change, but it'll be at a very significant and painful point. Can we do that now instead of later?
Yeah. Yeah. And I guarantee you, if you do this 2 to 3 weeks down the road, you will have a very interesting conversation with yourself. Sit down and journal what's happened, how it's felt. You'll really learn a lot about how you tick and how this change can really happen.
Yep. So imagine it, write it down, follow the R's. You're good to go.
Beautiful.
Thank you very much. Let's hear what the announcer has to say about us today.
So go ahead and tweet that, or share it any other way you want. As always, there are no rights reserved, no trademarks, no copyrights. Share it if you want to. And join us next time on It Doesn't Take a Genius.
That's good enough.